This is DG Chichester, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
And welcome back to another month of the Chichester Chats. It's me, Phil. Lilith is here. Okay,
yes,
And
somewhat is here. And of course, Justin the Owl.
Woohoo.
And of course, you know who's here. Dan the man does whatever a Chichester can. It is Mr. D. Chichester.
There we go. I want a little musical effect, and we have to put some like 80s synthesizer stuff on it.
Yes, I love that.
This whole thing is even more of a throwback, than most of these discussions. The CyberComics, when cyber felt like it was like new media.
The wave of the future.
The cyber stuff, Yeah.
Oh, little did we know where technology would go.
Right.
Oh my God. I was going to say, you know what? I found this while I was looking for visuals for this. Did this have anything to do with it? They were giving away CyberComics with like your CD-ROM America Online.
Oh,
no, I don't think this was this. Oh. These weren't. I mean, this isn't the one I did. Amazing that his first ever CD-ROM CyberComics. So I mean, I don't think these were the CyberComics that were on America Online. I think this was like a CD-ROM digital comic.
These are the ones you only got if you bought America Online and then brought it to your mailbox.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the ones that we're going to talk about now were the ones that specifically ran through America Online. This looks more like it was you got maybe a quote unquote digital comic, on a CD-ROM, a CD, a compact disc read only memory, kids. And a dead technology which nothing can read anymore.
I mean, some of these kids are like, wait, you had to put something in a machine to watch something?
Oh yeah.
Physical media.
It is, as Sony has proven. Hold on to your physical media, kids, because
absolutely,
they will screw you when they can.
Oh yeah, yep.
Well, that's what I said. Even if they're not screwing you, like say somebody like hacks into there and erases everything, it's like, all your stuff's gone, and it's gone,
and it's gone,
and it's gone.
Right. That was my stock response. I posted it like 1,000 times the other day when everyone was like, "The Trump accounts are live." It's like, and it's gone,
and it's gone.
Put your money in there, parents. That's a good place. Yeah.
Hey there! Look at there's his mind, and it's gone.
And it's gone.
Take the $1,000 definitely, but like, do not put another dime into that. But
yeah.
All right. So we're gonna talk. Well, I know a while back me and Lilith talked a X-Men CyberComics, but
right.
I wanted to get into this because Spider-Man's one of my favorites, and going through this, I was like, man, I wish Dan had written some more Spider-Man.
Yeah,
this was a ton of fun. They were all a ton of fun.
Oh,
they really were. And and when I was telling about that Dan Panosian story, the guy who was hanging out with him was Frank Thierry, who was started or very, very early on anyway, worked on these as well. So, but I had never met him in person. Like my main point of contact was like Greg Sanderson and a couple other people. So it was funny, like, he's like, wait, you worked on the CyberComic stuff. I worked on that. So it was very serendipitous, but I think we have to get like the context around these, because people aren't going to have any clue what the hell these are. Right. And so, in the early days of the internet's kids, America Online, people thought was the internet. So it was just a singular service portal that you could sign on and they would have all these funky little whatever, like chat rooms or media areas, depending on your interest, from whatever, woodworking, writing, and there was a very tiny comics area, but it was apparently large enough for Marvel to finally wise up and decide that, because I had mentioned it to them early on, like there's just stuff going on Genie, which was this GE chat service, and CompuServe, and they were all like, internet, that's never going to go anywhere, and but
digital comics, the hell are you saying?
Digital comics, and so these were, and you only had like modems, modular demodulators, that would that would take the signal from one computer to another and transmit the information, but at extremely low rates of speed. Now we're moving, gigabytes in minutes. Here, these things were transmitting like through a straw, essentially. And so they built these CyberComics out of a program called Macromedia Director, which was a early way of taking images and sound effects and kind of combining them in a limited animation form and with some limited interactivity. So if you click on a certain thing, something else would pop open, and sound effects would play. And they had the bright idea to try to combine these, but it was really pushing, I think, the program not quite to its limits, but pretty far. I mean, the interactivity was no slouch for what we were trying to do, and trying to push it through this pipe and have people experience it, was a pretty bold swing. And I think maybe 16 people probably watched them. So ultimately they stopped doing them. But they were cool, as they would move through, a panel would appear, you'd interact with it, word balloons would pop up, you'd hear a little sound effect, some animation would happen, another panel would appear. So they're not quite what you think of as like webcomics or webtoons today. They were really their own thing. That
in the chat for Adobe Flash, y'all. Kill
Yeah.
the internet.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was Flash was the component that was bundled into the Director was the engine, but there were some Flash components, within it, which allowed for some of the animation. But then, at certain point, all the operating systems were swapping over to new chips, and I realized this stuff isn't going to run on these computers anymore. Like media just dies, because a program gets obsolete. So unless you kept a Mac or a Windows computer running, I don't even remember what it was, the early 2000s, maybe, version of an operating system, like it just won't run anymore. None of the files will run. And so I just decided to capture them all on video, just so you can, which is how you guys have probably experienced it, right?
Yep.
You're just seeing it, seeing it move along as if somebody was clicking through it,
Right.
but it's not quite the same experience. But there's no way to experience it otherwise, I don't think, because nobody has the runtime files anymore.
Well, we're done emulating PS5, guys. Can we get an Adobe Flash emulator, please?
Yeah, there are a couple. I mean, but they run like crap. Some guy just came out with a. Do you remember HyperCard, Lilith? Did you ever work with HyperCard?
Yeah.
So some guy just came out with a pretty slick HyperCard emulator, and apparently there's a ton of there's a library of like 3,000 or 4,000 HyperCard files. So HyperCard was sort of the original version of this type of interactivity.
That's like what it was for, like Apple, right?
Yeah.
Apple, I remember, yeah.
Right. It came bundled with like the early Macintoshes.
The Apple IIgs, yep. It's all coming
Even
back
before
to me.
that, just the Mac and then the 2GS, right?
Yep.
The 2GS had a version of HyperCard, right?
That's the one I had.
Well, you were saying like only like 16 people saw it.
I was one of them.
I think a fair amount of people saw it because it was.
Yeah. But I just mean more people would have seen it, because I didn't even know these existed, because I don't remember them like advertising them, like, you know, not like in the comics or anything.
No, if
No,
you
they
went
didn't.
on if you went on AOL,
You go to
you know,
Marvel Zone, yeah,
right,
specifically.
exactly. You went to the Marvel Zone, and then in the Marvel Zone, you know, you had some chat rooms, and I think they had maybe some artwork sometimes, and then these were a featured thing of it. But you know, you had to be, well, a
In the
lot of
know
people,
to know.
right? I mean, a lot of people were on America Online. Let's make no mistake.
Yeah.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
that was the internet to a lot of people. But it was. So no, I'm not. That's foolish disparaging of it. There were people who saw these things, but they were just, you know, after a certain
It's
point,
like a
they just,
fever dream.
yeah, they just didn't decide to
Remember
pursue
that
it, right?
thing?
They didn't see like, well, where's this going? You know, it was literally run from like one office on the 11th floor, away from everything else. You know, so it was, there wasn't, you know, huge coordination, you know, with the rest of it, and nobody was just sort of saying, well, let's make more of a digital push. They were doing it probably to sort of say, hey, we're involved in this. But there were some fun, you know, there were fun stories to do, and they were fun to work out, and they were fun. You know, we had plans for like other things beyond these stories, like other little interactive. There was going to be an interactive, like Shield spy kit that you could sort of like, you know, go through the different gadgets, and they would animate, and you know, and you know, and you could play with them, and you know, maybe detonate a bomb or something, and there was an interactive Daily Bugle we were talking about, you know, which would sort of be like you could, you know, play with the Daily Bugle and open it, and you know, find different articles and whatever, you know, classifieds, and flip through it in that way. So we were talking about other like cyber gadgets that related to the Marvel universe beyond, you know, beyond these stories.
Yeah, I mean, I love Spider-Man. This was a nice, like, little classic story, you know, a battle with Sandman at the beach, and what
Also,
Jameson.
Flash Thompson in a banana hammock.
Ah,
Something
Yeah.
relatable content for me.
Betty Brand in a bikini. Lilith, that damn Betty Brand again. I mean, we have this theory that Betty Brant was like the villain all along, like she's been manipulating Peter and everything else since like day one.
Like Jar Jar, like sort of like
Jar Jar is the Sith Lord, and I will have no more questions
so was
about
Betty
it.
Brant. All right, yeah, the two of them were Sith Lords.
But no, I mean, I love this story. Again, it's a classic Spider-Man, and it made me want more Chichester Spider-Man.
Definitely.
I think you
Yeah,
have to,
I mean, Sandman at the beach. That is like, why don't we do that more often?
right,
Actually,
exactly. It's
That's
like,
great.
holy shit, salmon at the beach, and yeah, this one you get no complaints from me. I really like, you know, it's
fun.
it was a fun story. It was like the quips, you know, the animation, the reveals, the you know, the Jameson gags, you know, they all like, you know, they felt actually really good back in the day, and you know, watching it, you know, not rereading it so much, but you know, rewatching it, rereading it, you know, it still feels like it's got all that little like fun snap, you know, to it. And you know, while I was in this cyber zone, you know, they came back to me several times with these. I mean, my first pitch, I think I told you this when we were talking about the X-Men one, you know, I was at a fairly like, you know, low place in terms of writing assignments, and I had actually approached them for programming stuff, like, because I knew how to work Macromedia Director, like, you know, I was into digital stuff, and so I knew they were doing these, and I kind of went in like pitching myself, saying, hey, do you guys need any you know, programming help on this? And they were like, well, maybe, but wouldn't you rather just write one? Which just tells you how stupid I was, you know, and the low point I was at. It's like,
yes, I am a writer. That's right.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's it. And you know, so they, you know, for the 4 or 5 I did, you know, they just pitched them, you know, and you know, I think they took themselves rightly out of the bad spotlight of the editorial offices, you know, by doing these stories in a kind of a throwback one, right? If you remember, the X-Men one was like a throwback, right? It was like the original X-Men characters in a way. And so this Spider-Man was like early Peter Parker, right?
Yeah,
You know,
Ditko days, yeah.
yeah, it was very Ditko feel to it. You know, the Derek Robertson, did a very Ditko look, to it, which works really well. But I think that also sort of afforded the cyber comics office, some political cover, because nobody could come in and say, "Oh, wait a minute, you're interfering with continuity" or something like that. And we could just do a fun story, right? There was a certain lightness to this story, and yet still some good danger and and action and all the good things without it becoming belabored, right? Which I think also worked well for the readers, because with that technology, you wanted the quick hits of stuff, not something that was going to bog it down, possibly. I think they came out once a week. I can't remember what the release schedule was, but that sounds about right.
But no, I love it. Of course, the winner of the Sandcastle contest was whoever made the huge head of J. Jonah Jameson.
Yes,
It was great.
And I think my favorite line, "Oh, look, there's Spider-Man. I remember him swatting at planes on top of the Empire State Building." No, that was King Kong. Oh, I remember it was some animal. Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell it was, I was having fun with it. I mean, it was just very enjoyable to do, and like I said, re-experience.
I love the little nod to the ad. I was trying to remember the name of the company where they had the ad of the guy on the beach who was kicking sand into the other guy's face, and then the other guy who was really scrawny, he went and lifted weights, and then he went back to the beach later on in the ad and kicked the other guy's ass. I can't remember what the name of that, with the Atlas or something like that, some weightlifting ad back in the day, but I love that.
It was like the old I think it was like the Charles Atlas, like
that's
ads, and those would always run in the comics, too. That would always be the thing. So it was fun to work that in.
Yeah. Why would Betty want to be with me? Look at that banana hammock on Flash Thompson.
That was great.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Dan Chichester story without a supernatural angle, like that mirror, that supernatural mirror.
That was cool.
Well, there's your cheesy MacGuffin, but it works. The carnival setting, the boardwalk. I mean, it definitely clued into a lot of elements that worked nicely together, and it had that, I think, that feeling again of that early Spider-Man, type of thing, where these things would tumble together and then they'd come out the other side.
I would have read this as a regular comic. I mean, again, they were doing so much Spider-Man stuff back then. They even did like Untold Tales of Spider-Man, so they were doing like flashback Spider-Man stuff. Even
no, absolutely. But this was a good way in, and that would be good cover copy, though, the whole banana hammock thing, like this issue, banana hammocks,
the menace of Flash.
Exactly. Welcome to Coney Island, banana hammock. Hope you survive the audition. Now that would be a good name for a villain,
Yes, totally.
He's European, obviously.
Exactly.
That oily villain,
right? Throwing an extra apostrophe, so it looks French or something. It's like,
but yeah, like I said, I love it. I love Spider-Man. This is such a if someone's just be like, what, I've never read a Spider-Man. Give me, just like the bare bones. I'd be like, watch this. It's great.
It's great.
This is classic Spider-Man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Classic supporting cast. You got the classic Rogue and Sandman.
Yeah, it was nice to see him as a villain again, because back then, like, he wasn't. I don't think they had switched him back to the side of villainy back then in the late 90s.
No. Who's that, Justin? Who are you saying?
The Sandman.
Oh, Sandman. Right.
I think he was still running with Silver Sable in that.
I was gonna say he was still a hero in that damn Silver Sable series.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So
damn Greg, right?
I've read. I think at this point in my life, I've read more comics with Sandman as a hero than I have as him with a villain. So that was great to see that.
Oh, that's funny.
Call
that's
back
funny.
To his old.
Yeah, I was until the like the
days.
'99 reboot when John Byrne came in, they just put him under one of those old school hair
Right.
dryers. I'm like, you're a
Right.
villain again.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Zap.
been reprogrammed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird little, it's when you're close to these things, you sort of just say, oh, it was another kind of gig, and it was, certainly in that way. And I think that the cheesy name, the Max Headroom, CyberComics thing, makes it sort of feel like, it should be like one of those cheesy, like 80 graphics with the vector lines and the, the neon lighting and stuff.
Yes.
But I was talking to somebody, and at a comic shop, I think it was like on a free comic book day, and they were talking about these, and they were really sort of from their perspective, and they were saying, no, you guys were like really pioneers. You were doing like stuff that hadn't been done, and it, without swelling my head, it was just kind of gave me a different look at it, from the outside. And I think, I even said that to Greg Sanderson, recently, because he didn't know that I'd captioned the video, so I'd sent him a link to those. They were, and I think still are in some ways, like as a mechanism. Like the stories are fun, but they were a little bit. They were more than a little bit ahead of their time, and I don't think people have really like tapped into like what a digital comic can completely be, right? Web comics are sort of the thing right now, right? Like single panels, and you scroll down the the screen, and that's certainly a viable way to deliver a story, but it feels like there could have been more.
I didn't even think about this. This was before MP3, so that sound compression had to be a pain in the butt too. Now that I think about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, the guy who was the programmer, and I don't remember his actual name, his sort of company name, or the thing he went under, it was Grimworks. And,
Gary Schaefer. Yeah,
Gary Schaefer, right? Thank you. And he was really talented. I mean, and I think he's still in business. I'm going to say he is really talented. Because you had to get those mostly in sync. You had to push those down. You had to compress all those elements. You weren't just like going willy nilly and say, 20 gigs, who cares? Or 20. Here's a 30 meg file. Whatever. I mean, these things had to fit under. Geez, I want to say like 1 or 2 megabytes, which is insane. When you think about it. And so I mean, I know he was in there like having to compress the artwork, deliver it, in certain ways, probably swap out like when's the sound in the queue to be served up, and then dump it, from the whole thing. And so the fact, there's as much going on as there is
people don't understand how like back in the day, how like time consuming and tedious. You couldn't just vibe code your way through this back in the day.
No, that's the whole thing, right? Or you, like I said, you sort of shrug your shoulders. Oh, my video's like 30 megs or whatever, and I'm just uploading it somewhere, and some cloud server's hosting it. It was a tedious thing, especially to get something like this that moved semi in sync along the way and delivered the parcels of the story and transition from one, section to the next. And then it was figuring out also the moments, because, like writing it was different, because it wasn't just saying, panel 1, 2, 3. It was sort of, God, I wish I had these scripts. This would be like a really great time capsule to see. But I know, I was writing whatever, that panel erases and Spider-Man gets bigger, and that takes over this section. So I was trying to give visual indications of how one thing would supplant the the next, and so forth, which I loved. I was having a ball with that.
Yeah, because it looked like you couldn't do more than 3 panels before you had to erase the screen and go to the next.
It was more that wasn't that wasn't like a limitation of that was a limitation of the screen size, because the screen size was your typical computer was, geez, Lilith, help me out here.
BTR screens were what was it? It was like, I think the biggest we had at the time was like 22 inches. Most common was like 15 inches. So
right,
I don't know what that ratio would be.
But it was much smaller,
Much
right?
smaller, yeah.
Like, and you were if you've ever like seen like an old,
yeah, the fatbacks,
like an iMac thing, like it was. So you had to kind of keep the images filled big enough, to make an impression. So more than 3 panels would
really
certainly
be small. Yeah.
And then you had to get the word balloons. So I think that was the pattern we'd sort of worked out.
Meanwhile, I watched this on a 75-inch screen.
Exactly. right. No, again, you're spoiled. You got like.
Hey, shout out to the Sony PVM 4300 because that was 43 inches back in the day. It was like $1 billion, but it was out there.
But most people had,
with the little 15-inch.
a tiny screen. Your resolution was.
It's enough to run Doom on. It was fine.
Yeah, it was a cathode ray tube. So it was shitty. Like in that way, but I mean, at the time, it seemed like, oh my god, it's magic. I mean, there was a 2 I had done. I don't know if you guys had ever seen them. There were 2 like promo things I had done for. One was Fall from Grace, and another was from The Root of Evil. Like, but they were like promo kits. So they were meant to be sort of like delivered on discs. And so they use the same technology to like do like little animation and little
I need that.
Gags and stuff. They're captured. They're on there somewhere. I'll find you the links.
Oh, nice.
But I mean, it was the same thing. I had to capture them like frame by frame, or not frame by frame, but I capture them as a like video because they won't run anymore. But it's the same. I remember showing those to a couple people like when I did them, and they were like, "Why did you do that? How did that happen? How did he crash out of the building?" It's just the things that impressed you at the time are like nothing today. But in the moment, I mean, Mike Sines, who was the guy who did the first, really, I'm pretty sure he did the first digital graphic novel, digital comic, Shatter. So he was doing everything in Mac Paint. So everything was these chunky, big pixels, and then he did this Iron Man graphic novel called Crash, which I think Epic did. But he brought in an old, the old one-piece Mac, right? Like not the iMac, but the old like beige block. So the screen was like this big, and it was the animation he showed me in Archie Goodwin was a shot of Iron Man like with his arm up, as if he's flying, and then these buildings like moving behind him as if he's flying up the side of a skyscraper. But the way it's accomplished is there's just a single still image of Iron Man, and you've got a scrolling
move the building
shot of skyscrapers behind it. It's almost equivalent to like the 1890s stage production where they've got like a thing of a wave on a a 2-piece curtain behind it, and somebody's moving it from one side to the other. But when we first saw it, it was like, how the fuck did you do that? Me and Archie were like, I remember jaws like agape, like it was the most amazing thing ever. And Archie may have bought, if Archie bought the graphic novel, he may have bought it there in the moment,
That's great.
Oh my god! Now all I can think is when Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, the second call was, "How the fuck did you do that?"
Exactly. You're right.
No, it's actually the guy who stole it from him. Just constantly calling. He stole it from constantly calling him. Actually,
right?
you know.
Yeah.
It's like finally a second line I can call.
The kids, this Dan Chichester is a pioneer anymore, so he'd have dysentery.
Yeah.
Wait, was it this one? I just have to know so I can have the visual. Was it this one?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, that was exactly it. Like,
I remember that.
He brought that in. He brought that into the office.
We had those
set it up, plugged it in, and then so on that size screen, you had Iron Man like sort of 2/3 of the the height of that, and then the skyscrapers like in the background. Yeah, totally.
The square mouse, I forgot.
Yeah.
Square mouse.
Yeah. Their mice have always been weird.
Yep.
You hear them keys clacking. What does Apple?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Charge from the bottom. It's so inconvenient.
Amen, sister. Right there.
Although in defense of that mouse, that is one of the best Star Trek gags, ever. It's got like, computer, that, I don't love Star Trek 4 that much, but I do like that gag.
Damn whales.
Exactly.
Oh my lords. But I mean, I just think, all this stuff was just ahead of its time.
Totally. And I can see comics eventually going down this route. The digital comics that we have now, incorporating like the sound effects and like some music and stuff, because I thought that was really cool in this, with the sound effects during the fight and the
it felt like video game cutscenes in the best way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because like all the the noise and like the background music, it reminded me of like a 90s video game. Yeah.
Not the Punisher. Don't worry, not that one.
Not Maximum Carnage.
Yeah.
It's a step beyond the old 70s, 60s, Marvel animation things.
Oh, where they move like one arm or something.
Yeah.
It's a little better than that, but it's such a tricky thing, because I think I mentioned this to you guys a long time ago. Like there was a period, when I couldn't do anything else, where I wanted to pitch myself into video games, and I was trying to kind of break into that, but this was way too early for writers. And I would go to the like CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, and E3, which was the Electronics Entertainment Expo, and I'd go around trying to pitch myself, and I was always like using the term we'll do digital comics, do digital comics, and everyone would nod their head, like, oh yeah, that sounds like the coolest thing ever, but to a person, including myself, nobody knew what that meant. It just sounded right. It just sounded, oh yeah, that'll be cool, like that's of course. But there's this weird line, where if you go too far with the animation and you go too far with the sound effects, you are making a cartoon, right? You are making animation. So what is what is
between comic and cartoon? Yeah,
right. So like it's an unanswered question of like, what is a digital comic?
It's like the uncanny valley. You'll know it when you see it.
Yeah, kind of. Like, is there something like that? Like, again, like the webtoons format is really interesting. Like taking that and sort of like, all right, let's use the endless scrolling to sort of like, reveal things and tell stories that way. And the way that something like Hoopla or Comixology does their like zooming in and out of the panels, a way to represent. But is there a hybridization of interactivity and
bring back CD-ROM disc drives?
I don't know. There was a guy who did a couple really cool ones. I'm blanking on his name, but he had done a couple of really interesting ones, like maybe 10 years ago, and they had a much slicker version of like, you'd click on this and something else would reveal that, and then it would go into that. So you were still sort of interacting with the story to an extent, as opposed to it's just taking itself over. But it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work of cutting the things out and creating the backgrounds and the elements, and is there a way to automate that kind of stuff and make that easier? If somebody even wants to go down that road, I don't know.
I mean, or does it have to be movement? I mean, can you take like the digital comics of today and just give you bonuses like, I don't know, like quote unquote director's commentary,
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's something, right?
Open up an issue with Daredevil, and Dan Chichester's like, yeah, well, Lee Weeks hated this when I had Daredevil.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that would actually be pretty cool. That would be a fun way, for any of these companies to do
Something extra.
an extra, like, right, if you got a digital comic, like suddenly have a creator commentary track,
Hmm.
But,
Or even if you pick up like a trade or something, just have a code in the back, be like, here,
The
here.
epic collection.
Oh,
Right.
oh, there you go.
right.
I'm saying they've been skippy with the epic collection lately. No tea, no shade. We need some extras for what it's costing nowadays.
But yeah, but can you imagine doing it for the epic collection? Dan, we need like 20 hours of commentary for
Yeah.
this.
Oh, sure.
20
They wouldn't
issues
say
worth.
half the stuff. Well, here's where Bobby Chase fired me. No, I mean, like, that would not like probably sing really well. But
This is where Alan came in.
yeah. Oh, that'd be cool. Then, like, yeah, we could finally give give him a voice. The last word,
Yeah, Dan's too nice, but then sitting in the room with Dan is Alan Smithy, who's like, yeah, Bobby Chase, fuck that guy, yeah.
exactly. We'll put it all on Alan.
Would you like a puppet? I can ship you a puppet.
we'll just create like another like sort of like slightly out of focus, backlit, shadowy like avatar.
With a cigarette, I have cigarette smoking
Little
like
cigarette
this.
smoke coming out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bagel with scotch glass
Right.
on the table.
You don't have to see his lips moving. He's just sort of shifting back and forth a little bit,
Oh,
like
God.
do some kind of thing.
I think we just created the comic industry's version of ventriloquist and Scarface here.
Right.
So I remember they moved it to their website. Like Marvel was kind of a mess at this time too, so I can only imagine like the back and forth of it all.
Did
After
they ever
took it off at AOL and they put it on MarvelZone.com, and then
Did they?
shut MarvelZone.com down. Yeah,
Yeah. How long did it last there? I don't remember that.
a year, I would
A
say.
year?
If I
Yeah.
remember right. It shut down in like 2000,
That's,
I guess.
that makes sense, I guess. I think that's where, because when they shut our new
Oh, no.
when like Greg got laid off, I believe he was laid off, I think it's because they shut down, this group or division or, whatever. They stopped doing them. But they had called me, or somebody at Marvel had called me, like early 2000s or something, or maybe even later. I don't know, and they wanted to know if I had the files, like, if I had the the production files. And at one point I did have not the, did I have the raw ones? I think I had the runtime files. I don't think I had the ones, you could actually go back in and like, work with, because I'd asked, I'd asked for them. And, but the runtime files are what I used to sort of like, create the animations. But by that point, I don't, I had nothing I could run them on. So
Yeah.
and I think but I did have them, because I remember like sending the guy a message back saying, yeah, I've got something that maybe you can work with, give me a call, let me know what you want to do with them. And the undercurrent was, and what are you going to pay me for them? But
Good for you.
clearly, if you want them, you're going to do something with them, and it's not my problem if you didn't keep hold of them. So, but I never heard back. They dropped whatever they were thinking of doing.
I think it was a very turbulent time,
Yeah.
that first half of the 2000s.
Yeah, as opposed to the stability now, right?
Well, they're committed to the stability of constant stupid decisions.
Yes, they're consistent there. Yeah.
It's like, just listen to your damn fans, please. We beg of thee, we want you to take our money.
Right. But things like this, I think, could be, there are alternative ways of telling the story, right?
Oh, yeah.
And alternative ways of playing with comics, stuff that could, but maybe they're just seeing like that web, because both companies are doing, both the big companies, are doing some form of webtoons. So maybe they see that as enough of a, like, that's toe in the water enough. Like, there's no reason to think about anything else like
Nobody
this.
wants to be innovative anymore. Nobody wants to be on the bleeding edge anymore. That's the problem.
And that's always been the problem with any
Well, I was gonna say the companies don't want to take the
digital
risk,
stuff.
right?
No risk, yeah.
Not these days.
Back in my day, see.
Right. And but that's not just comics. That's anybody, right?
Yeah,
There's
that's every
I mean, the
corporate.
number of companies I've worked with, in marketing over the years, who it's like, we're the leader in X, and it's like, well, then lead.
Yeah, they don't wait for someone else to do it.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell who else has done it. Well, nobody, because you're the leader. So do you want to, But that doesn't usually go over well, I've discovered.
All right, time for a big manifest, Lilith. We got to manifest this. Dan, you said something about like video games and stuff. Daredevil's hot right now. Okay, Sony, whoever, get Dan in there to write a Daredevil game for
Yes.
PS5.
Yeah.
Black Armor, the video game. Yes.
Oh, Black Armor.
Yes.
Okay,
Black
the
Armor,
next-
the video game.
The next best moon for manifesting is going to be the Sturgeon Moon on August 28th. If anybody's into the woo-woo. Just gonna put that out there for you.
Okay.
Well, there's July 28th.
August 28th. That's the
August
Sturgeon Moon.
28th.
We got the Buck Moon on the 29th of July, but
Okay, but the big one's the August 28th one.
Yep.
All right, so we got there's a lot of things to stack up for that time. So we'll put out some good energy for those.
That's the other thing we should ask you about. They did put out a still for I guess Daredevil Born Again season 3. Is that the Black Armor suit or a version of the Black Armor suit or no? Looks like
he's not at liberty to say, Phil.
There's a little too much red on there. I don't know.
I commented on that, I think, and there was actually not Deadline, maybe it was Deadline. Somebody did an article, about like the production still, and they actually name checked me and Scott in it, which was nice. They said, but honestly, I looked at that and I didn't see it at all. I mean, it sort of had the logo wasn't placed differently. It was missing, even like a sheen of the shoulder stuff. I mean, it just looked like it just looked
like a black suit, and they just like kind of painted up the middle of the suit with the red.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll look for the tiny little name credit.
You gotta remember lighting and stuff, and then
I don't feel that was. I mean, nice that I got the name check and Scott got the name check, but it was, to me, and I'll grasp at any straw possible, but that one, that was not something that I saw in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I've always felt, even from the Netflix show, that they arrived at the same place Scott and I did. They arrived there very early. It's like he's getting the shit kicked out of him. The suit should be a little bit more reinforced. So, but that's just sort of independent avenues of thought. I would say, if there's ever a situation he continues to get into where it's like he's really getting the shit kicked out of him, and they want to drag a more specific reinforced suit that has that sort of capabilities, they've certainly got a model for it. But but that right now I don't know. Who knows what they do?
I mean, everyone got armor in the 90s, and again, that was one of the better ones. It made more. It made sense. Yeah,
and we didn't do armor to be the 90s. Even at that point, I've told you what we did. We did a costume change. And it just happened to be like, this was Scott's influence, and of the 10 or so designs he did, this was the closest, and we stole an element from that one and rejected an element from this one, and ended up where we ended up with. But
and it made story sense. He was pretending to be someone else, another Daredevil.
Right. Well, by the end, as it kind of got to it. But
do you have to get permission for a costume change? Because they have to want to make the toys and stuff, obviously, right? Or
at that point,
know you're making a change.
No, I mean, we didn't. We just said we were changing it.
This is pre-Disney.
There was no that was when the Office and the kind of
because creators. Marvel was so heavily involved with like the Hasbro toy lines and stuff. Like if there was a show that had like an action figure, Marvel's animation company was on it. So I think that they would kind of follow that suit too at the time. That's all.
I see what you're saying. I mean, I think if there had been maybe if there had been something like that going on, we might have had more to deal with. But because we were just basically the comic and and it was, you know, like any of the story decisions, you know, it was, do we think it's right? You know, were me and Scott excited? Was Ralph excited? You know, we did have to win over Tom to some extent. And but you know, once that was done, then it was kind of like, yeah, all right, just go do what you guys want to do. And you know, we were getting you know, a lot of the shortchanging of stuff because Frank and Miller and you know, John Romita Jr. were coming out with Man Without Fear at the same exact time. So all the attention was on that. And it was like that was the real Daredevil story that was coming out. And you know, these guys are doing something over here. And you know, like there's one review out there which I love, you know, which is just basically, you know, these guys threw everything at, you know, at this story, and you know, some of it works and some of it doesn't, but props to them for like just like going up against the Miller Romita machine and doing whatever it took, you know, to kind of stay relevant, which was what we were doing. So, but no, there was no different. The whole approach to things was very enjoyable when you figure you had the, you know, the abilities to kind of go run with the story, right? Same with this though. Same with the Spider-Man story. You know, it's you know, I'm pretty sure like Greg said, hey, we want to do a Spider-Man story now, and I had to pitch the story, but you know, pitch the story, and he's like, cool, run with it. You know, there wasn't a lot of like back and forth and checking in with the Spider office, even probably beyond sending them the script, and they probably never paid any attention to it because it was so out of continuity, right?
Yeah, it's a classic story. It wasn't have anything to do. Luckily, you didn't have to do anything with continuity. Because when was that? That might have been during the Clone Saga.
Yeah, I was gonna say it ran between 96 and 98, right? So yeah,
right. And that was probably another reason, like for, you know, the decision to keep all these things out of continuity. The Nick Fury one just sort of exists on its own and could have been anywhere, you know, which is sort of like just a good spy story. And then
and then Blade, which is basically like kind of like
the Blade was the movie, right? Tie-in, which was a lot of fun. And then the Cap Iron Man one, you know,
Invasion Force.
Yeah, I would say feels like it could be in continuity, but nobody bothered us on that one either. So, but these two, maybe the X-Men one and this one, maybe just felt like if we push it to the past, it gives us a little bit more buffer.
I feel like that would have been the ones you got the most pushback on in the 90s, Spider-Man.
I agree totally. I think if we had tried to say, oh, we want to play with like current continuity or we want this, I think we would have run into a lot of issues.
All right. Any other questions for this man?
No, just thank you for preserving it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the insight on the intricacies of it. Like you just look at it and just like now, like in like 2026, you're just like, oh, it's so simple and cute. But back then it was like, oh my God, this is so amazing.
So much.
Yeah, and that's
it's still kind of amazing when you like actually know like the working parts behind it and the limited technology.
Right. And I wish I had, you know, a different way to capture it when I could capture it. You know, I might have been able to preserve a little bit more of the like the click aspects and the interactivity and stuff, but you know, it was just a straight video dump, you know, as I remember, like, you know, I could run it clicking through it as I was going and then capturing the video as I was going. You know, you couldn't even like, you know, or at least I couldn't, you know, simulate like a little clicker, little mouse pointer, you know, clicking on the place and having it radiate out or something that I would have probably been able to do, you know, 10 years later.
But yeah, I'll share the link in the show notes. So yeah, everyone, you can watch this for free.
Yeah,
YouTube.
Go check it out. It'll you know, there's occasionally like people who find it. It's got more views than I think, but it's definitely still, they're kind of hidden away.
Yeah.
Not hidden.
You just got to know to look for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know to look for it. So now people will. So there you go.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Comment.
Yes.
Cool.
All right. Any updates on any of these comics you're working on now?
No, well, like Black Box just had me send all the scripts for the second Skull Warrior, or I think it's called Skullbound. They just had me send the scripts over to Rodney Buscemi, who is the artist on the first one. So I guess he's now the artist on the second one, which is great because he did a fabulous job. So even though the first one is not out, I guess Black Box wants to get moving on the second one, which is cool. So I just actually sent him those scripts, which go back to, I don't know, late February or something. So hopefully that gets moving, soon. And the prose story that I wrote for that Dan Brereton anthology is coming out July 21st, actually.
Nice.
So that would be a good next show, unless you have one planned or sometime in the future. And
we can do that.
And then Raleigh with GalaxyCon is end of this month, 23rd through the 26th, a 4-day show. So I'll be there. And I hear that's their big show. So they're of their shows, that's supposed to be the biggest. So
they cool. It is.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
It'd be swampy. So
all right. So is that planned next time? We're gonna do your story from the anthology.
If you want, I don't want to jump on what you.
No.
You know,
we're always excited to talk. When something new comes out. Yeah.
All right, then I'll get you guys a copy of the story, and then
nice.
You can treat it that way, or you can go purchase it if you want. But I mean, I'll be happy to share the story, and it'll be in print. It's not just me. Look, I have this in the back of a notebook. It'll be in print by that point, and we can link to it and go from there.
And what's the name of the book again? Just let's push some sales here. What's the name?
It's called Monster Aristocracy. So that's the name of the anthology, and it's got a ton of people in it beyond. I mean, Dan did like spot illustrations throughout. The illustrations aren't tied to the stories, specifically. They sort of allude to the stories, or they're kind of in the theme of it. But there's a ton of people like in there. I mean, there's Steve Grant, there's Cliff Biggers, there's I'm blanking on the list, but there's 15, 20 people
nice.
and of considerable storytelling merit in it, and it's got a great cover and all that kind of stuff. So
nice.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, something new, something a little different. Yeah.
All right, let's do that. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Anything else you want to promote?
No, I'm good. I think I said last time, the Street Riders thing, which is linked there. There's now an ebook version of that, which is great. Folks want to jump on that. And that's all I got.
All right.
Nice.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah, this was a fun one. I had not one disparaging remark about myself. So, Mark.
We're so proud of you. You're growing and learning.
Mark.
He's learning to love himself.
Mark. Mark's saved from Dan's imposter syndrome, and it's
Mark saved from my own inner voices.
Exactly, my inner demons. Well, guys, it's always a pleasure. I really appreciate this.
Yes, you too.
And,
yes.
Stay cool, and
we
will talk soon.
Yes, thank you.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys. Be well. Bye bye.
Oh, that was the man, the myth, the legend.
That's right. Master of so many technologies over the years.
That was fun. I love those CyberComics. Those are great.
I mean, he's going to send us a copy of that story. I think I'm going to buy that book.
I already pre-ordered.
Yeah, that sounds.
It's going to be delivered. Unfortunately, it's going to be delivered to my Kindle, but it's okay.
Oh,
okay. Well,
yeah, I want to get it immediately. So
Oh yes, Miss. How dare I have to wait through ads or
exactly
wait for delivery?
My time is precious, baby. I'm inventing revolutionary technology. My time is precious.
The poor young men of Florida having to make love to Lilith Hellfire while she's gone.
Yeah,
there's a little timer. Exactly. You get it, Justin.
I gotta go to bed. I gotta work in the morning. Wrap it up.
Shoot that thing already. Let's go. Come on.
Oh, time's up. Sorry. Better luck next time.
That's it. I'm letting you leave with your life, kid. It'll be like
I still gotta make it through the front door through the dog, so I can't be responsible for that.
Oh my! All right, so let's promote us now. All right, so yes, if you enjoy
My little
this,
egomaniac, I love it.
you and Rob, Tommy. All right, so if you want to help support these fine episodes, email us your thoughts, especially on all this Dan Chichester stuff. Email us CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow us all over social media. Help support us by buying merch at TeePublic and Spring. And again, the famous Lilith Hellfire method, just rain money on us through the Cash App link.
We need the money. Gimme.
Do it.
Those Kindle downloads don't buy themselves, kids. Come on, rain the money on us. And of course,
it is reasonably priced at $8.99 right now. So
just
throwing it out there. I would love the hardcover eventually, though. So
we know you like it hard, but
like my man, I like my books.
Whoa!
Long and hard.
hard on the table, and you can put them down whenever you want. All right, and of course the Patreon. Again, not only do you get early access to all these episodes, but you get at least one exclusive uncensored episode every month. Again, for the month of July, it is our Ray vs. America special, where Ray sent in his question.
I found it to be hilarious.
I know. Oh my God, the Sydney Sweeney thing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he did. He did. Maybe I'll tell you when we're done. He did reply to me today about the coffee.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So go subscribe for all the exclusive episodes, the early access, and the best built-in feature. When you subscribe, you can suggest topics for us to discuss, as Ray has been doing. So again, the only safe, legal way to tell Lilith Hellfire what to do.
Shut up, Phil.
All right. So go right now. Run, don't walk. Go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. All right. And if you need more podcasts, especially about comics, Justin the Owl, what are you doing on the Lost Library of Legends?
Well, there was just a brand new episode featuring yourself. The Podfather Phil joined me on the very first episode of Maxima Magnificence, the Maxima podcast.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Do your homework on Maxima before she shows up in those movies.
Yes, you can get your introduction to the lady herself before you see her next year in the big movie.
Why am I lost all of a sudden? No,
is there something on your screen that shouldn't be there, sir?
No. I'm looking for the
pop-up ads.
I'm looking for the logo for the Lost Library of Legends. I'm like, I know I got a logo somewhere. I was just looking at it the other day.
Too many windows.
Look for the owl. Look for the owl. All right. And yes, and just beware the Lilith Hellfire. She's gonna be manifesting at the end of August. She told you that. So
yeah.
Yes.
Hey, can you manifest that Spider-Man marriage too, please?
Hey, you gotta get out there too on the bonfire, bud. Gotta make it happen.
And I'll dance naked outside also. Come on.
Let's go behind your shed. It's fine, Phil.
This wood is not for the bonfire, please. All right, kids. Thank you for joining us again.
Well, make sure it's not a weenie roast either.
Oh God! Yeah. Don't dance too close to the fire.
Don't dance too close to the fire. The Lilith Hellfire story. All right.
Exactly.